many questions I always get is, where are the young people? We need the
Mhm.
young people out here. We need the young people to work with us. What are they doing? What are they going to do? What is their beliefs? What is the important things that they're looking for? What changes are they wanting?
So there's a couple things I want to touch on. The first one is that number one, we have a men problem. We're not having men engage with the Democratic Party. Men are leaving the Democratic Party.
Mm,
And there was only really two people that I think really spoke to men, and one is Bernie Sanders, and the other one is Pete Buttigieg. Personally, I know people at ASU that were for Bernie when he was, running in 2016, and but now they voted for Trump. And we kind of have to think, why is that? And it's because they're both kind of populist, right? I think Bernie spoke to them the same way that Donald Trump has spoke to them. And so if we want to get back as the Democratic Party, I think we have to look at what Bernie and AOC are doing, and they're focused on actual issues that impact everyday working families. That's what the Democratic Party needs to get back to if we want to start gaining more voters, gain back men, gain back working class people, all those types of things. Now, as it goes for, talking with or the changing the dynamic of the party, I think we had a problem where we had all these consultants and these, political pundits saying, hey, we need to get more conservative. We have to, if we want to win, we need to start appealing to moderate voters. One, that came off as not authentic.
mhm.
Two, it wasn't the correct messaging. People now think that we're MAGA light. We should do that. We need to stand up for what we believe in, and we need to make sure that we're following through. We've been the party of working class representation. That's who we are. We've always fought for the underdog. And that's the thing that I think that the Democratic Party needs to get back to, is that we have to get back to the party of the working class people and the average everyday person.
Do
Okay,
you
let
think?
me let me get in on this because you're
Absolutely.
making a good division between daily kitchen table issues and social issues. But we've also been the party of the social issues, and there are a
Mhm.
lot of Democrats who don't want to see people walk away from this, who don't want to see Gavin Newsom backtracking from trans rights in any way, shape, or form. How far away do we have to go from those social issues? A lot of people are going to be concerned that those aren't addressed at all.
I absolutely think that you have to be focused on social issues, but you have to put that economic twist on it. So when we talk, or you have
Putting
to
them
make it
together into one argument and saying how they.
together, or the way I like to talk about the trans issues. I used to work for HRC. Okay, I used to work for the Human Rights Campaign. I have trans people in my family. They deserve to be just like everyone else. They deserve to be left the hell alone, and that's they should just have basic rights, right? But when we, I think, respond, it kind of feeds into the Republicans. And so what I like to do is like, you know, you're worried about trans athletes in sports, and how many of them are actually in sports? You know what I mean? It's such a minor detail. So I like to kind of like pivot. I'm like, well, while Donald Trump is worried about taking away trans people's rights, of that small, minuscule percentage, okay, he's not focused on lowering your gas prices. He's not focused on lowering your bills. And so I think we have to make it almost like a non-issue, that to us, like, hey, these are trans people. There's every average day people, and we're going to continue to fight for them, and they deserve to be that left the hell alone. But Donald Trump is too worried about trans people and attacking them than he actually is about lowering your prices. So I think you just have to put it in a way that turns it into an economic issue.
You mentioned Bernie and Trump, right? How young people see this, and one of the things I've said is in AOC's district,
Mm-hmm.
they voted
Yep.
for AOC, they voted for Trump, right? Strip
Right.
down what Trump says and the horrible rhetoric he has, where he says, "I know you're suffering. I know the middle class is suffering," and as Gary and I have discussed in many times, history shows that, right? You just need that one guy who says, "I feel your pain." That's it.
Yes.
Right.
In this case, he's correct. The Democrats stopped mentioning that, and so they lost people there. Everything is great. We're doing wonderful, and it just wasn't. And they do need to get back to those progressive economic values that used to make the Democratic Party. I
Right.
think onto what Gary said, it's really important to keep the social issues. But I think what the Republicans did well was force that issue, right? Trans in sports. It's not a big issue because it's really not happening at this
Right.
professional level or lightly, it's lightly in the collegiate level.
Mhm.
But they focused it on so much of being an issue. The
Mhm.
Democrats took the bait.
They
Right.
sure
Instead
did.
of discussing those policies of, hey, the middle class is dying, right?
Right.
These are the things we didn't focus on. So we do a horrible job of trying to save everybody and everything.
Not just that, we've been so on the defense. They've forced us onto the defense while they've just playing offense. We have to be on the offense and we got to put them on the defense.
Why are we always on the defense? Because I don't disagree with that, but I just
Yeah.
realized like that's a really good idea. I'm like, but wait, I hear this every 2 years. Like, what is it
Right.
because we're apologizing all the time for all of the injustices in the world that we aren't even responsible for, but that we have to fix, or we get
Right.
wrapped up in saying I'm sorry a lot?
I
I don't
think
think I'm not expecting you have the answer on that, but I just would love your opinion.
I mean,
I think that's
I have lots of opinions,
you're in the
as
right
they
place.
say. But I think there's a couple of reasons. One is that Democrats, we're one, that we're very educated, right? We're very educated people. We're very nice people. We're always trying to fix everything. We don't lead with fear like the other side. They lead with that fear aspect in their brain. We lead with a more, okay, let's think about this logically, methodically. One is that Democrats are too busy trying to legislate when we should be campaigning. The other side's very good at campaigning and they don't know how to legislate for crap. The second piece, I think, is how do I say this? I'm trying to figure out how to say this in like the best way possible.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, we won't use this, but are we pussies?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
We will use that.
100%. We go on listening
Please use it.
tours.
What?
Right. But we go on listening tours, we're trying to make everyone happy, and the other side is using a completely different rule book, right? They're not afraid to call someone out, they're not afraid to tell lies. We're not even using the same rule book anymore, okay? We're using this rule book that is like old style politics, and they're out here using like this, new rule book that they've completely made up. And we are kind of like pussies, and I'll say that. We have to get loud, and the other side does that very well, and our side just doesn't. We're too polite, and I think that's something that's going to have to change. We have to be more loud. We have to get more involved locally, and we can't just be afraid anymore. We have to get out there.
You know what I feel haunts us all the time now is Michelle Obama when she said, "When they go low, we go high."
Yeah.
Every time I shoot my mouth off or say something about the other side that's less than respectful, I do get that. Don't forget what Michelle Obama
Yeah.
said. Well, I'm not Michelle Obama. I'm glad she's going to go high. But
Right.
when you're Michelle Obama, you sort of have that luxury, right? I feel
Right.
like I want to adopt more of the playbook.
I want to go
The other
low with
side
you.
seems-
No.
But
So
yeah,
I'm not gonna say what politician said it, but when they go low, we step on their throats. And
yeah,
I
there we
think
go.
that's the slogan that we need to have. You know, we got to beat them.